It is August 30th. We have 4 rounds of Modern tonight. We have Lincoln on Blue-Red Murktide and Crimson on Enchantress. I'll be right back. Yeah, I did leave.
Something wrong with the stream setup?
Yeah, there's a poll.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, just adjusting some things a little bit off camera. Get out of the player's way.
But Connor's commentating.
I am commentating.
How lovely.
Yeah. Going on a wonderful mediocre streak in the past couple weeks of playing Magic, so I just got to stop.
You're all tuckered out.
Yeah, right? I will say, I was playing Legacy yesterday, and I just attacked a Flicker Wisp into an Endurance. Absolutely forgot what cards did.
Yep. I heard you
lost
to Jeremy Barbeau.
It's time to retire. Oh, wow.
Oh,
Hey,
that's
look.
crazy. I saw that. It's the first thing I saw.
Hey, all I'm saying is that if beating you becomes something that's noteworthy that you got to brag about to your friends, yeah, I'm doing something right.
Okay, both players keep it on 7. I did just see it. I got a little notification. I thought there was I thought you were at that 1K that was on Saturday. But then he was like, oh no, it was Legacy.
No, yeah, there was a 1K somewhere.
Dragon Range Channeler. I think it was West Bend. I know a couple Green Blade players were there, and then some of our Madison players were also. A lot of people did pretty well in it.
Yeah, I heard about it the day before it happened, and it was
Yeah.
I don't really want to warp my weekend plans around this. Plus, it's Modern. I mean, a Legacy 1K I would have gone to, but no, I don't like any of the decks in Modern right now, so.
Yeah.
So this is kind of the ideal start for the Murktide deck. Got the Channeler Bauble turn 1.
Yep. There's a Temple Garden tap, so nothing really from Crimson.
I think the key here is going to be there are sort of two paths that Lincoln can take here. He can have the permission heavy hands with a bunch of counter spells and try to really just lock Crimson out of resolving something that's relevant and affects the game. Or you can just kind of, get this Channeler to a 3/3 early, play a big Murktide, and run over the Enchantress deck before it gets going.
I think Crimson's big thing is basically having the Onthin Isis when she needs them, and then early Sterling Grove probably wouldn't be the worst, so that way you can protect the Sanctum Weaver, but...
Right, protecting Sanctum Weaver, protecting Sithis.
Yeah.
Against a lot
there
of
is a Sterling Grove.
All right.
Oh, but met with a counter spell. Yeah, that's not good. And here's a trigger. Surveil 1. That is a sorcery for Lincoln. So Delirium is online. Gonna bobble. Another Sterling Grove.
Okay.
So if Crimson has a land in hand, I believe I saw the Onthin Ice. So it could be a Sterling Grove into Onthin Ice, which is still good.
Just still really good here. And I think this is probably going to be a turn where Lincoln taps out for that iteration, tries to hit a third land drop. Yep. And this is super powerful with his Surveil first.
Will we see a land? I don't think he does. I think it was Ragavan Bolt.
Yeah.
Something else.
And
he even surveilled 1, so he looked at the top 4. Swinging for 3 here, yeah, that's pretty huge.
And he did pass on that third land with the turn 1 Mistress Ball or Surveil.
Yep.
So.
But when you have iteration in hand, it kind of I can see why you would, but you're taking a chance there, and it did not pay off.
And I will see how well Crimson sort of leverage the fact that she now really gets to take over the tempo of this game, potentially.
Onthin Ice right away.
Yeah. I think that's right.
Yep.
I mean, you can save it for a big Murktide Regent, but a certain portion of Lincoln's stack doesn't have the most efficient use in this matchup, so, filtering through all those draws is huge.
Verdant Catacombs probably finding a Temple Garden Shock. I think you just want to get down the... Oh, no, just going with a mount or forest.
Yeah, this is a little bit rough because
I feel like you just want to get that Sterling Grove down.
Yeah.
I think the only thing she can cast is the...
Looks like she's going for Sanctum Weaver, yeah.
Because with Sterling Grove, you at least turn off, like, all the removal, like, killing your relevant creatures.
Yeah, and if Sterling Grove came down first, then, you know, all the Lightning Bolts and Unholy Heats would be really trapped, but now Lincoln gets to use that.
Unholy Heat before the Channeler?
Yeah. Yeah, I think Lincoln, he played the Channeler, he's like, oh, my bad. Little misstep on the sequencing, but... So
maybe a little tilted not getting the third land. But here's a presence.
Okay.
I believe she has an Abundant Growth in hand, but just going to go with the Stomping Ground. Oh. Yeah. I think he did not like what he saw on the top, so that Surveil 1 being pretty bad for him.
I think it was a third copy of Iteration, if I saw right.
I mean, you just gotta find the land, right? So you're just gonna cast it regardless. Yeah, casting this first to Surveil. Hate to see Murktide going away, but there's
no land again. Wow.
This is heartbreaking. Yeah. No lands.
Well, I mean, the game's not fully over yet.
Yeah, I mean,
swing in a couple times here.
4-turn clock, just straight up. I don't know if Crimson has a Sithis to gain some life, but...
Yeah, and I think Lincoln has a Bolt in hand as well. Could be looking at 3 turns here. If this isn't super impactful, maybe a counterspell on something the next turn.
Going with Snow-Covered Plains.
I think this is the Sigil of the Empty Throne, though, so...
Clock being represented soon.
Well, I mean, not even the clock. That's just representing really good blocker for the Channeler, right?
Sigil of the Empty Throne, draw a card. Doesn't have mana to make an Angel this turn, so...
Yeah, so going down to 8 here, there is a Bolt in hand.
So it comes down to 8 here. Lincoln has a counter spell, but just going with the Murktide.
Yeah.
That's fair. Like, I don't hate that.
And now I think it's actually interesting here. Do you try to preserve Delirium, or do you try to get rid of Delirium so that next turn you're not, swinging your 3/3 into a couple of Angel tokens? You have to swing,
yeah. But it's looking like he's keeping it.
Kept Delirium, okay. Then again, with that Lightning Bolt in hand, Crimson's at 8. This is, might just need to sneak in a couple more points of damage.
Oh, I think she drew a Sithis, which is fantastic.
Pretty big, yeah. Getting at least 2 Angels this turn and a couple points.
And we saw the Sterling Grove, so
yeah. Yeah, and Lincoln's tapped out, so it's perfectly safe to go for Sithis first here.
Which would normally be a greedier move, but
right, yeah.
But it's fine here to gain that life. I mean, 9 matters.
Anytime here that you can get another multiple of 3 up, I think that's a really big deal.
Yeah. Sterling Grove, make an Angel, gain a life, draw a card, draw 2 cards.
Yeah.
And I do think I saw an Abundant Growth before, but...
Yeah. Well, I think there's a land drop and a Sanctum Weaver here, so...
Oh, yeah, like it's scooping it up. Yep. So Crimson's going to get their game 1. Yeah, I mean, kind of unfortunate that he didn't see a land in, what was it, the top 9 cards, but also...
I mean, he did surveil the one.
The pitching it is kind of... You can't be too upset with that.
I think especially... now, it was Lincoln's turn 1 on the play, so totally in the blind, you don't know you're against Enchantress, but, I mean, these players know each other. Lincoln knew Crimson was on Enchantress.
Literally built each other's decks today,
Yeah. So there, I mean, especially being a basic island,
Mhm.
I kind of want to keep that knowing that there's potential blood moons to be worried about.
Yep.
Game 1 at least, I would. I'd be very surprised if those were still in for Game 2.
Mm-hmm.
Got extra blood moons in the side. That
Is it choke?
a choke, and I think I saw a Journey to Nowhere. It's been a while since I've seen that one.
Well, I just saw the what is it? A sorcery, the replenish sorcery with suspend. I love that.
Yeah.
Are most Enchantress decks playing that right now on the sideboard?
I've seen it a decent amount in sideboards. It's sort of more planned for the decks with like heavy amounts of discard and counter spells. This blue-red Murktide deck does have, some number of counter spells, but it's a mix of a few spell pierces maybe and the 4 actual counter spell.
Yeah.
Resurgent Belief, I think, is pointed more at the decks that are going to Thoughtseize or good enchantments a bunch. They're going to, be playing 4 counterspell, 4 Archmage Charm, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was an interesting game 1. Decisions. I mean, it was only a couple turns, honestly. What, we had 6 turns there per player, but within those 6 turns, Lincoln kind of did stumble quite a bit. There was some misplays, missequencings.
Well, and I think even that third land there, I mean, Crimson was still doing some very powerful things, and not always hitting that third land is gonna line up correctly. But maybe you get to spell pierce the Sigil of the Empty Throne, and
which
then
was huge. That would have been game changing. Because Crimson being at such a low life total when she cast the Sigil already, it could have made a huge difference.
Yeah, that's a really, really scary one to tap out for sometimes, because 5 mana, do nothing to immediately impact the board is. I mean, that's a huge ask in Modern, but if you can get away with it, the card is strong. So Lincoln on the play again. We'll see if he gets to that critical point of being able to. Oh wow, snap keep.
Yep, keep engineer explosives. I saw.
Yeah, it'd be pretty strong.
Both players keep. Shock channeler, pass.
All right.
Systematic Vista, the draw for Crimson.
With turn 1 on Thin Ice here, it looks like if she wants to go for that.
I think that's pretty solid. Before you get the chance to build up. And we are going for it.
Yeah. Well, it looks like 2 copies of Engineered Explosives.
I love On Thin Ice. I think that card is just so fun.
It's good. I think it's... I don't want to necessarily say that it's been underplayed in Modern, but certainly we haven't seen a ton of copies of it. 1 mana removal is just about, what you have to do nowadays, right?
Maya. Sterling Grove. And it resolves.
It resolves, yeah.
I think Lincoln drew a second copy of Sterling, or of Engineered Explosives, though, so I'll be pretty solid on 2. But just going to pass, going to use his mana to blow up that On Thin Ice this turn, and also make Crimson not play any 1-drops.
Yeah, it is sort of an interesting decision whether or not, because I see that Lincoln does have a Mishra's Bauble in hand, so if he, pops the On Thin Ice now and casts a Mishra's Bauble, then a pretty significant tempo gain there.
The only thing doing it on her turn is just preventing another sorcery speed removal, right? So another On Thin Ice exactly, which...
So another On Thin Ice.
I don't know if that's super worth it, but...
I think the big thing that you stop is you don't let Crimson play copies of Utopia Sprawl.
Yes.
You don't really care about, destroying Abundant Growth or anything like that. I think Utopia Sprawl is the big one.
Okay, he's gonna believe. So mill, and then look at the top 3. There's a land already, Better.
And a Spell Pierce.
Another Engineer Explosive,
was
though.
that wrong? That's an okay, it looks
Iteration Explosive land,
okay.
yeah.
So no Spell Pierce.
Crimson reading the card this time. I was like, wow, that's a pretty good card.
That is good, yeah.
There's a reason it costs money. Bobble, surveil again.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Looks like an Unholy Heat. Oh, another Channeler. Okay.
Channeler, yeah.
That one makes a little bit more sense to think about.
Boltchew. Trigger. Does he have Delirium? Right, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like he has Delirium. This Channeler... it's not summoning 6. He popped the explosives on end step. Okay.
He did not sound excited about what was on top, but yeah, it looks like another Anthonice.
Yeah. Well, now we've got, anytime you get to untap with Sanctum Weaver, you're going to see some things happen. Yeah.
Check this. Different artwork.
Yeah, the sketch artwork. This could be very good for Lincoln, though, if he does have a 4th land to explosives on 2 next turn.
Mm-hmm. Gonna get the Channeler right away.
Yep.
Abundant Growth. Draw 2 cards.
Oh, that's looks like an Enchantress's Presence, and she does have the mana to cast it this turn, I think. You've still got 2 white floating off the Sanctum Weaver.
Yep. 2. But yeah.
Yeah, just clearing up how much mana is floating here.
Yep, 2 white floating and a green.
Yep.
So we do have enough of this Enchantress Presence, which really good. You just played a bunch of 1 CMC and 3 CMC spells, which is going to be solid when there's an Engineered Explosives on 2. But again, yeah, Lincoln does need to draw that 4th untapped land to be able to do that this turn. Does hit it.
There it is, right off the top. Yeah, and you want to...
I was going to say, there's no way that one lasts. Oh, it's... Yep, 2. So a lot of good things removed from Crimson's side of the field, but still...
I mean, still has
looking
presence
good
in play.
Yeah.
And Lincoln's hand doesn't look super well equipped to put on a lot of pressure here.
Mm-hmm.
See a Snapcaster Mage, another Explosives, and a Counterspell. So, definitely...
Another Sterling Grove. Rough. I think there's another Sanctum Weaver. I think she's just going to reestablish everything that was just blown up.
Yeah, just like the same exact board.
Oh, Sanctum Weaver. Draw a card.
Oh, is that the choke?
Seal of Fire. I love it.
I saw a white border card. We might
I
be...
hope it's a choke. That would be backbreaking.
Well, Lincoln does...
Okay. We're just scooping him up.
He's off it.
Yeah. Okay, well, Crimson gets their in 2. We'll be back with the next shot shortly. Thank you. Hello, we are back with round 2. We have Dustin on Spirits, and we got Keegan on Brought Back.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one.
This is like a weird, just like red-white elementals, right? Like, I mean, I saw Fury and Solitude.
Kind of, yeah. So it's the same idea with like what Elementals does with Fury and with Solitude and Ephemerate, that you can, do these things and get them back. But you're also playing the card Brought Back. So it's, those of you who don't know, 2-mana instant. Choose 2 permanent cards in your graveyard that were put there this turn, and you return them to the battlefield tapped. So it works well with, the Evoke Elementals. You can also just, turn 2 Brought Back 2 fetch lands and cast a 5-drop on turn 3. A lot of cool stuff going on there. Just really trying to abuse Fury and Solitude here.
Brought Back is a weird card. That is for sure. Skyclave Apparition.
Plains.
That's the other card in hand. That might be the land that makes
I think I saw
Spirits.
Moorland Haunt, yeah.
So, doesn't look like the most powerful start from Dustin.
Now, a little bit slow for Spirits. Let's see here. Looks like Keegan has a Fury, he has an Ephemerate, so this might be rough here. Got at least a 2-for-1. Okay, not cashing it in just yet. Wants to get another real card, so to say, out of it, not just that Noble Hierarch.
No box. And a pass.
Okay. Pretty heavily representing Collected Company here.
Yeah.
Can't quite see the last card in his hand. He might have it.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing it.
I mean, you've got to assume that if he's not playing the what's the name of that card? The Supreme Phantom here. He's probably got either, he's got the Company or he's got Spuckwaller or Rattle Chain, something he wants to do at instant speed.
So ends up, Solitude here.
Yeah,
Targeting Noble, forcing on Collected Company if he has it, and he does.
Yep, so he's forcing it now.
Yeah. And we saw an Ephemerate and a Fury in hand, I believe, so...
Yeah.
So if he has a red card to pitch, we can wipe the whole board in response to these Mausoleum Wanderer triggers. Oh,
well, Fury doesn't have...
it doesn't have Flash, that's right, yeah. It's the only one that doesn't, right?
Grief also doesn't have Flash.
Grief,
yeah.
You're right.
Okay, so Geist is kind of a problem here, but also it's only one card.
Yeah, I was going to say, when you hit the one thing, yeah.
And the other thing is, Skyclave Apparition does a lot of good work sort of clearing the way, making sure that Geist can attack safely. Does not really clear the way well against like Fury and Solitude. So if he ever draws it, it's in his hand.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. Basic Mountain.
Yeah, and Keegan might be incentivized to just sort of go for it here for, minimal value on the Fury, but putting a blocker in play to deal with that Geist.
Yeah. And he is going for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels a little weird, but... I mean, at least it is a blocker again, but also Dustin can't play anything at sorcery speed, basically.
Yeah, and it looks like his hand is, 2 Supreme Phantoms.
There's the Haunt.
Apparition.
He had it the whole time. Keegan thinking he just top decked it. Wow.
Yeah.
Dustin tricked him.
Yeah, so Dustin just can't play a creature here into the Ephemerate.
Yeah. I don't think he has any flash creatures, so he might just be taking off the whole turn.
Might just be a time walk.
Oh. Going with Fan.
Oh. So I think that, because, it makes the Geist the 3/3, but it still can attack into the double strike creature.
Yeah, double strike.
Yeah, kind of just...
we literally just threw that card in the garbage.
Well... Happens sometimes, I guess. Yeah, players. Got an Imperial Recruiter here for Keegan.
Oh. What does this normally find?
So this can find, there's sort of a little utility package. It doesn't find other elemental, which is rough. You can go sort of the Recruiter for Felidar Guardian for Kiki-Jiki Chain to set up a combo. But also, I think the one Felidar Guardian did get pitched to that Solitude earlier. So, sort of limited selection on this Recruiter, but, you know, it's a card for a card.
Yeah.
Looks like he's going for his own Skyclave Apparition.
Hold on a second.
Oh.
So what did he end up finding? You say Skyclave?
Yep, he found a Skyclave Apparition of his own. Oh,
Ooh,
wow.
Path.
Has a Path Exile. That is really big, because that now unlocks the Geist of St. Traft being able to attack. Now, I think Keegan did miss a land drop there, so potentially we're looking at, you know, a 4th land, maybe a 5th land next turn being pretty big, but...
Yeah. There's a showdown of Scalds in hand.
Yeah, draw 4 is pretty big, huh?
Flagstone's the draw.
Flagstones, okay. That is a 5th land to cast another Fury here if Keegan wants to put a blocker in play. It looks like he's going for Showdown. Try to find a more permanent, better solution there. I think there is also some merit to maybe Dustin doesn't have any white mana up on this turn, so resolve your big 4 mana spell underneath.
Before Spell Queller, Mana's threatened,
Queller.
yeah. So we do have a land for turn, but is that what we go with? I mean, you're gonna play a land, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna crack it right away, going down to 8.
Now 8 kind of is a scary life total.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 2 angel hits, right?
Yeah. Any flying threat right now too is pretty terrifying.
Pretty big, yeah. And even just something, you know, as innocuous as like a Rattle Chains here.
Yeah, but getting land and Thraben Inspector in this pile is pretty solid still.
Pretty good, right?
It forces him to have a Lord. Like, you can't just attack you for free anymore.
It's true.
It's been a minute since I've seen Geist do work.
Yeah. We'll see here. Dustin could have a Lord here. He could have, I mean, it's not
Ooh, I think that was a Drugskull Captain.
Drugskull Captain.
And he has the Supreme Fana, so...
Phantom.
So he can, represent lethal? if he has a land.
He can represent lethal with, I mean, anything that lets this Geist of St. Traft attack twice, right?
Yeah.
I think Dustin's just trying to figure out what the safest thing is here.
Having only one of each mana is kind of
A little rough, yeah.
weird.
I mean, Moorland Haunt is definitely a card that does some good work in Spirits, but...
Double Hexproof on our Geist. Swinging 7.
You could probably throw Thraben Inspector under the bus here.
Do you play like Flicker Wisp or anything? Or, but I guess brought back, you want the most value, huh? If that is a line.
Yeah, there's a Restoration Angel in Keegan's
okay.
deck. Yeah,
Restoration Angels would be a pretty good draw.
would be. Well, I mean, you're chump blocking the.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're blocking Angel. Yeah.
Looks like Keegan has.
Or when does Skull start putting 1/1 counters? Is that the final chapter, or is that
Chapter 2 and 3 are both the same.
okay? So if you had a Restoration Angel and something else, you could eat.
Yeah,
the
you
Angel,
could.
Yeah.
Well, it's on your turn that it applies, right? So if you had, say, Restoration Angel and a 1-drop, he could do that, but he'd also have to do it, right now.
Yeah.
Looks like Keegan might be cracking the clue token here,
looking
for something.
Good.
I think.
So that's a Solitude.
Might be on no outs here. We could see Solitude.
Can you Solitude your own creature?
You can't. So Solitude can't hit itself, but you could maybe gain a point of life off this Imperial Recruiter.
I mean, that's another turn.
It's another turn, yeah.
I mean, it doesn't feel good if you have removal and then Solitude. Oh, he has the brought back, so
he does have brought back. So if he can potentially survive this turn, he might be able to get the lifelink creature in play and start working himself out here. I think he's pretty out of luck, but
what are the odds of Dustin blocking if he swings with an Imperial Recruiter?
Yeah, I think he's just a mana short here. Looks like he wants to go, Skyclave Apparition, get rid of the Drug Skull Captain, and then have Solitude, your own guy, to gain some life and brought back, but just a mana short here.
So kill a Drug Skull. Put a counter on Recruiter. So at least we have a double block here for if he goes just Phantom Swing.
Yeah, well, he's dead to the Angel token.
Yeah, without solituting his own creature, right?
Oh, true.
So, I mean, I think you just play the Phantom. If you got a Lord, I think you play the Lord. That's safer? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, at this point, I think, playing a Lord versus leaving out Moorland Haunt, maybe that's a consideration. Because if Keegan, Solitude's his own guy and survives at 1 or 2 life here.
So swing in 2. Exile brought that. Solitude Dustin's Angel. Which, is a line that I probably should have thought of. I don't know why. I was just trying to big brain it.
Magic's hard, yeah.
Wow, I don't know.
Don't worry about it.
I think if I was in the stream room right now and I was in Keegan's spot and I did that, everyone would make fun of me. So I apologize for even having that line of thinking.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit different when you're... I'd like to imagine I would have found that line.
Yeah, and now you just double block the thing. Because in my line, you couldn't even...
Do you double block here?
I mean, why wouldn't you double block, right?
You're right. It can get a little bit messy because he kills the Apparition here, and now there's a 3/3 token.
Yeah. But I feel like you just can't. You need that thing dead.
Yeah, it's a question of can you win this game without being greedy? And you're right. Double block is a lot safer.
And I mean, so Skull's gonna go away this turn, but we will still get counters if he just plays normally. Mm-hmm. So
and Keegan does have Fury lined up to clear the illusion if he wants here. I mean, you have to use your Fury now, but that's not the worst thing in the world.
I can't believe I even said Solitude your own creature.
4 mana. Is this another...
I'm a fool.
It's another showdown, maybe? No, 5.
Fury. Ooh, that is a Rattle Change in hand now.
That's a Rattle Chains. It's
Fort Illusion.
Not a Spirit, though. Can't protect that one.
Do you like putting the counter on the...
It's a cast trigger, so you have to...
Oh, it is a cast. That's right. Yeah. He said, shoot your guy. Oh, my trigger. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm a fool.
Got the Supreme Phantom at least, and another blue card. Oh no, it's still the Skyclave Apparition.
Skyclave and Supreme
bluish
Phantom.
art.
No blocks.
And I imagine, you just
this
leave
is a
out more
grind fest. It's kind of crazy that Dustin hasn't played anything. I feel like the Geist was the last good thing he played.
Really been the Geist of St. Trapp doing a lot of work here.
But this Moorland Hawn and the Supreme Phantom is lethal.
Yeah, so we're representing sort of two lethal threats here.
Ranger Captain. What one does he find? Or what one does he play? Just Thraben? Or?
Thraben Inspector and a Figure of Destiny. Because Figure of Destiny... Well, so it's a 1-mana card that you can pitch to either Fury or...
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. Play Flagstones.
Yeah.
Keegan's having a problem.
Just trying to figure out which one's tapped, which one's untapped, which one's floating mana. Looks like Keegan's going to be able to crack his clue, have a mana up, so he can hit potentially Ephemerate. So if he draws Ephemerate off this clue, then Ephemerating the Fury is really gonna...
Is Ephemerate his only out?
I believe Ephemerate's his only out.
Combat.
It's 9 damage coming across. A reasonably fast clock if Keegan manages to survive here, but I think it has to be exactly an Ephemerate.
Respond now.
Interesting. I don't think it really makes a difference when he responds.
Well, yeah, you're right.
I think potentially, I mean, if you draw the Ephemerate there, I think you want to Ephemerate before Dustin untaps his mana and goes to his turn.
Yeah. But I guess it doesn't matter if you see the card beforehand.
Right.
Oh, so Keegan did not get that one. Dustin definitely got that one.
Players now just talking over those the lines of, hey, what exactly is the timing that you cast Ephemerate with?
I love how good of a card Rip Apart is. I just saw it in Keegan's sideboard. I love Rip Apart. It's just solid.
It's just solid.
It's like not the best. It's just really solid.
Yeah, I think Rip Apart is a card that's sort of been... I'm not going to say underplayed in Modern, but maybe just like a little bit suppressed in Modern right now because, Wear Tear is so good against a lot of decks right now and it covers a lot of the same ground. So, it can be hard to justify putting Rip Apart in your deck if Wear Tear would fit, but...
Yeah. Keegan says this deck is pretty awesome.
It's pretty awesome.
But he has not won yet.
Yeah, so, he was just talking about how he played it this weekend on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And, he did well with it on Saturday.
Oh.
He was... at one point I think he was, undefeated with a draw that he probably would have won if the, match had come to a conclusion.
Mm.
And then actually had another draw against me in the last round that I also think he would have won if he had a little bit of extra time. So, call it an undefeated with a pace of play consideration on it.
You are undefeated, right? Like, you haven't lost a game if you win, draw.
Win, draw, yeah. You can call it that. And obviously there's when you're playing a deck like this and you want to sort of evaluate how well it's doing for you, there's, no one really, really cares if you go 4-0 or 3-0 at your little local tournament. And if you would have won that game, if, it's 2 or 3 weeks from now and you can pick up the pace of play, not have to worry about so many small decisions, then sure, put it down in your spreadsheet and win, right? All right, Keegan on the play here. See how well this one goes for him. I do think that in general, what Keegan's doing, the Fury in particular, but Fury and Solitude and
okay, both players mulliganing.
Yeah, and using those multiple times, very very strong against spirits. So if Dustin doesn't have another Geist of St. Traft or get off to a crazy start,
yeah,
might see Keegan do better.
Players randomly talking about Pioneer. It's been a minute since I've heard about Pioneer.
It has been a minute. I think the format picked up a little bit in the past couple weeks. There have been some some bigger Pioneer tournaments. I've seen people, sort of self-run online. Yeah. And then there's those the Pioneer are they Challenger decks? Is what they're called?
Yeah, Challenger decks. Yeah.
And those honestly look pretty good. I think that they're better than most Challenger decks or pre-cons we've seen before.
Yeah, for standard and whatnot, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really comment on how good the standard ones are because
they had sought-after cards, but it's like, one Heart of Kiran when the deck plays 4. Like, it's just like a dulled-down version, so you could run it, you might win a couple games, but it's like...
Well, and the Pioneer ones look really, really close to what the good ones are. Mm-hmm. I know someone showed me, it's like, hey, here's the Pioneer, the Lotus Field deck, and here's what the Lotus Field deck actually looks like. Not the Precon. It's almost exactly the same thing.
I was going to say, I guess the Lotus Field decks play a lot of uncommons from random sets.
Yeah, a lot of random garbage that happens to work well. I mean, some of the other ones...
Like Pour Over the Pages and, Pieces of the Puzzle.
That's
some weird stuff. I love Pour Over the Pages. I played that card while it was in Standard for a while.
Can you imagine if they just, let us have Frantic Search in Constructed?
Oh.
I mean, almost for sure not something that can realistically happen.
Yeah,
but, I can dream. 0 mana, draw 2 cards, and, discarding cards is upside, and...
Rough.
Yeah. All right, so Keegan's down to 5 here. Dustin is also on a mulligan. He's down to 6 and on the draw. Mulligans can tend to be a little bit rougher for Keegan, I would say, just because he's trying to, pitch cards from his hand and assemble a combination of things.
Figure of Destiny. He got it. I hope he wins with it.
And
I hope this card is just nuts.
Yeah. I actually hate to say, I think I have to check it myself. I don't think it gains flying until a couple steps later.
All I'm saying is Figure of Destiny is no Warden of the First Tree.
Yeah, it's way better.
No, it's not. Warden of the First Tree was nuts. Oh my god. Because can you activate Figure of Destiny's last mode multiple times? You can, right? Or you can, it does nothing?
You can, it just doesn't do anything.
Yeah. Warden of the First Tree, you can sink all your mana into it.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No.
Oh, yeah, I played Warden of the First Tree the entire time it was legal, and I can't tell you how many 13 Wardens I've had.
Yeah, wow. If it's a spirit, put 5. Okay.
Yeah, no, it was actually kind of nuts, because it was, the best mana sink in the late game,
Yeah.
And it has Trample or something, it was...
It's got keywords on it.
Yeah, it got keywords. Trample, Lifelink, it was actually stupid.
Keegan can play a land. He can make the Figure of Destiny a 4/4 here. It's not nothing.
Swing for Figure of Destiny. Level it up! I mean, it's a clock, right?
It's a clock, yeah. Now, the unfortunate part is that the next level where it gets, flying and first strike and really becomes a threat, that's 6 mana to activate, so...
Yeah, and there's no vigilance anywhere on that card, right?
No, the last one is, I believe, flying and first strike. Let me see. Yeah, so the last one, if he gets the 6 mana, it is going to be an 8/8 flying first strike, but... might just be dead before then. Looks like Dustin has a Spell Queller and a Path to Exile in hand. And a Collected Company.
But no land for it, right?
No land. I mean, if Keegan does something worth caring about, you can Spell Queller it here. If he doesn't, you can just play that Supreme Phantom. So at this point, I think we might be approaching lands are good for Dustin and spells are good for Dustin, which is, I mean,
so if I retapped,
always where you want to be.
Just swing for 4. Well, Dustin used his path. I think he's getting a little low on health. He kind of, yeah, he decides to go with it. Not even destroying it until it's brought back.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't want to brought back a 1/1, but
no, not necessarily.
Taking the option away.
Is leaving down Spell Queller though, so we might see some fancy. Looks like Keegan has a brought back, a Solitude, and a white card.
Watch the Cleric going away. Solitude. Solitude, Yui said?
Yeah.
Dustin pretending to explode. Targeting Wanderer. I like that. You can wait for it to resolve before Ephemerate, if he has one. Or the
he has a brought back, yeah. So you want to get rid of the Wanderer here first, so the Wanderer's ability can't sort of mess up that brought back. Especially if they, a Rattle Chains.
Yeah, you're playing around any flash creature.
Yeah.
Rattle Chains. In response, Supreme Phantom. Gain 3 life. Yeah, doing it while he could. Rattle Chain's giving flash.
Now Keegan does have, he's got 5 lands in play.
Yeah,
so
I kind of like where Keegan is if Dustin doesn't draw a land.
Yeah. Now, if he does draw a land, it might be hard to overpower a Collected Company.
Yeah. I still don't think... Oh, Noble's a draw.
Noble Hierarch's almost land.
Still, even if Dustin Collected Company could cast Collected Company, I still like Keegan untapping with the Solitude.
Yeah. Well, and actually, speaking of untapped, the Solitude should be tapped here, but not really a difference maker. Brought back does put them into play tapped. We could go yell at him if we really wanted to.
I'm just gonna go yell at him just for
put on your
clarification.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. Just so Dustin knows, doesn't play around something that he shouldn't be playing around. Alright, it looks like Dustin's electing to leave up Spell Queller here instead of playing that Noble, sort of guarantee the 4th mana. Queller? Okay.
Collector.
Yeah, I don't hate that. Keegan has no cards in hand, just use the Spell Queller on any card.
Ugh, no land still. But we can go double spell here, which is fine.
Spell. We can Noble into Wanderer. And honestly, the nice part about this is that because Supreme Phantom is not only a Lord, but also has 3 toughness, I mean, Fury's still going to be really good, but Fury's not killing everything.
Yeah.
Right? Like, theoretically, a Fury here could kill...
No, I think that was a Recruiter, not a Fury. I got really excited for a second.
Saw a borderless red card?
Yeah. Oh, maybe it was a... No. Okay.
No.
Oh, you got me hyped.
Now, what Keegan could go for here is he might go for the Felidar Guardian into Kiki Cheeky line. Try to steal a game.
Oh, there's Kiki, yeah.
Just going straight for Kiki Cheeky. Okay.
I mean, I think Kiki was solid.
Yeah, I guess
that seems
I like
so
this,
good.
Yeah.
And it's also just a lifelinker with haste.
And a Swords to Plowshares every turn?
Yeah. No, I like that a lot.
Now, the scary part here is there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think if this Collected Company hits 1 Lord, like 1 Lord and
anything
Spirit,
else, there's a Geist, Mystic Reflection, Mausoleum Wanderer, Noble. I don't think he hit a Lord, but it's still going to be a decent amount of damage.
Geist plus
and
Mausoleum
Geist.
Wanderer is
So how much damage we got on board here? We got 4, 7,
I count 9.
9. Yeah.
Or
Or 8.
8. Yep.
Yeah.
So the Mausoleum Wanderer is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so any Lord plus the Spirit would have done it.
Not in a super comfortable spot here. Keegan might be forced to. I mean, what? What do you even do? You Kiki next turn, kill the Lord, and I think you're kind of forced to attack with that and the token, right?
Yeah, I think so. But then, I mean, if Keegan's going to 1 here, he's then going up to 7. Might not be enough with a Geist of Saint Traft coming in.
Yeah. That's rough.
Yeah, there is at least 7 damage left on the crackback, so just Kiki Cheeky on Solitude enough is guaranteed to be not good enough here. Is Dustin missing a point? Oh no, it is 8.
Yep, it's 8.
Yeah, Dustin's better at Spirits Math than me. Now the other thing is you can leave up. It actually, I think, is more points of life to just attack with a Solitude and leave up the Kiki Cheeky, because then you can block and trade the token into the Geist of Saint Traft.
Yeah.
You lose the game to Rattle Chains if that's the case, because you Rattle Chains protect the Lord, but, I mean, as opposed to just losing the game.
I mean, do you just lose the game to any Spirit with these Mausoleum Wanderers?
2 Mausoleum Wanderers.
That's rough, too. Like, there's a lot of bad things going on.
Because Keegan is with a lifelink. He can go up to 5. Keegan's talking over his lines. It's sort of known information, nothing wrong.
Okay.
I think Keegan's alive. Keegan is alive if Dustin doesn't draw a Spirit, but
okay, yeah. Well,
you know,
we'll be back with next round shortly. We're gonna go run in there real quick. Thank you. Hello, we are back with round 3. We got 2 undefeated players right now on camera. We got Amato on white-blue control and Matt on the blue-red Murktide that we seen earlier on camera. Looks like Matt's going to be taking a mulligan here. Amato's keeping. Not 100% positive who won the die roll.
Yeah.
We get a lot of dragons on these play minutes.
It's kind of magic, right? Got a lot of dragons in AFR, the new set.
Yeah. So what's this? I heard, is there a Doubles Masters 2? I heard someone talking about something. I didn't actually catch the...
Yeah, I forget what the... I think it's Double Masters 2022 is what they're calling it. Okay. So, yeah, just another reprint set that's coming. I think they showed... they showed Ren and 6 during... Okay. I mean, not... directly they didn't say, hey, Ren and 6 is in the set, but the, slide transition in their announcement PowerPoint was Ren and 6's art, so,
okay.
If that one's not in there, then...
People will riot.
Yeah, right.
People pre-ordering like crazy. I can get a Ren and 6. Ooh, Ragavan turn 1 against white-blue control. Prismatic ending, or...
Prismatic ending
or
buzz,
you feel awful. Ooh.
Doesn't have it. Now, if this Ragavan hit isn't crazy, I do see a Wall of Omens in Amato's hand. So...
Fairy. Okay. Mega Treasure.
Not too bad. Not a castable, really good card here. I know when I play these kinds of control decks, looks like I think Amato's on the main board, Rest in Peace, main board, Chalice kind of control decks.
Man has double Brazen Borrower. Which is definitely worth it to hit with Ragavan. Oh, no. Oh, he just cast it.
Well, you can play it as a 3-1, and then if you really want, you can bounce the Wall of Omens.
Oh, yeah, still, yeah.
But at the same time, it's is a Ragavan hit equal to, equal to drawing a card off wall? Make him spend the mana.
I was like, I like him just spending mana, but...
The Time Raveler.
Bounce Brazen Borrower. Well, now your wall's definitely...
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, you just had untapped mana. There was no reason not to...
Well, there's a Teferian play.
Oh, there's the...
I mean, you could have used...
But you can play the other one.
The other one.
Yeah.
It's still not amazing. I think...
And
it doesn't matter a ton. You might as well attack with the Ragavan.
Yeah.
If for no other reason than... the second that he actually does swing with it, then you tell him in no uncertain terms that you do actually have...
Yeah, it's tempting to bounce the Wall of Omens now.
Oh, he lets it happen. Surprised that didn't eat a Cryptic Command.
Cycle Shark Typhoon for 2, Black Monkey.
I can respect wanting to get the Ragavan sort of just permanently off the board, not have to worry about it.
Draws another Shark Typhoon for turn. How many cards does he have in hand? He has 8 now. So did he have too many cards at the end of last turn?
No, it should be fine.
No? Wait, moving to discard now.
I mean, everything he's done is cantrips, right? Not that I'm paying super close attention to the cards in Amato's hand here.
Okay.
Cast
so
Ragavan.
I was like, wow, Matt's in a really good spot at that first turn without an answer right away, but...
I mean, that's the thing, right? You're not going to hit a ton of super relevant cards against this deck off the top. So
yeah, I mean, Matt kind of skipped 2 whole turns.
Yeah.
Which was a little awkward.
I mean, let Amato get his mana under him. Let him, develop here.
I feel like our screen got really dark. I might just be crazy.
I don't think you're crazy yet. It's a little bit darker. I don't know when it happened. Now that you pointed it out, I can definitely see it. But
I'm just gonna double check to just make sure all the lights are okay. Yeah.
All right. Players just paused here, checking, make sure the lights in there are all good. Looks like everything's fine.
I don't know. Oh, it looks brighter.
Yeah, no, it might have just been something camera autofocus change.
Yeah.
All good now. Yeah, so here's the part that I don't love about not swinging with Ragavan before. Sort of telegraphed.
That you have a Bolt now.
Yeah. Although, yeah, it looks like Snapcaster Bolt is the plan. Yeah. The one play that was available to Amato that actually really
it is so much brighter
liked,
now.
Yeah. There's a world where I think you would, just steal the Ragavan.
The monkey? Yeah.
Because of the way that Matt played, right? You're, expecting he has a Bolt, so you have to probably respect Bolt or Snap Bolt with a counterspell there. Just use your counterspell that's going to be pointed at Bolt anyway at stealing the Ragavan. There's also a world where, there's a prismatic ending in hand, so you might just say, who cares about this Ragavan?
Yeah.
Right? If he lightning bolts my Wall of Omens, then...
Bounce Wall.
This Wall of Omens getting to draw 3 cards here.
Still Ragavan.
Yeah.
Time to play Murktide. I think he has another... Does he have another charm? Yeah. Yep. He's gonna delve here, but there is another Archmage's Charm. I didn't realize Archmage's Charm was worth money, and I have them.
It's crept up in price. I know. I mean, I got mine for like $5, but that was forever ago.
Okay, he's gonna concede to the Teferi, bouncing it back to his hand.
I mean, there's a live Ragavan on Amato's side now. Bouncing the Murktide, Matt only had 1 card left in his graveyard, so that's not coming down for a while. So, yeah. I mean, the control deck got to stabilize a little bit, got to, sort of be safe and be able to take game actions without being overly reactive. So, good spot to be in.
Yeah.
Looks like Amato's got a lot of really, really good sideboard cards for this matchup.
I thought Amato was done foiling out his decks, but I've seen a lot of shine.
He said that. I think that so Amato's been, he's a very cryptic command kind of guy, so this might just be the one that he sticks
left,
to. Yeah, I know he said that when he rebuilds the Niv Mizzet deck, that one's probably not going to be.
Yeah, because he got rid of all that for the Feast and Famine GP promo. Very expensive, nice. Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like, okay, so being realistic. That is not a very nice looking sort of Feast and Famine.
No,
right?
not at all.
Like, I don't like the art. There's the Judge promo just looks beautiful in the old frame. But at the same time, if you know what that card is, then it's like...
Yeah. So my Magic collection is not that extensive. Like, it's fine. But I enjoy collecting misprints beyond a belief. And that is like one of those oddities of Magic. It's like... historic. Like, I am so jealous of it. And I don't want it because it's a Feast and Famine. I want it because of how, like, rare it is, basically.
Right. It's just cool to know, like, the story that went behind it, right? Like I said, the Judge promo one looks so much better.
Oh, yeah, it's fantastic. It's way better. 100%.
It's the same kind of thing how the, like, Summer Magic.
Yeah, Summer Magic cards, yes.
Like, there's a... So I talk to a lot of Death and Taxes players, right? Because... Death and Taxes is my favorite deck in Legacy. Legacy's probably my favorite format.
Well, it's my favorite deck after the Deathrite Shaman ban.
Yeah.
There we go.
Fair. Actually, I'm not a Deathrite Shaman fan, so not saying for me.
I'm just a Food Chain fan, so Deathrite hurt. But yeah, continue your story.
So in the Legacy D&T Discord, there's a channel dedicated to showing off your deck, showing all your cool foils and strange cards and whatever. And my D&T deck looks nice, but there's some really, really cool ones out there. I think my favorite is there's one I see the picture and there's like 1 white bordered plains in the deck. It's a bunch of Judge promo planes and the Onslaught or the Odyssey foil planes everyone likes.
Yeah.
There's this 1 white bordered card there, and it's like, what's that doing? It's like, it's a Summer Magic one.
Oh, nice.
And that's one of those cards where it's like, Summer Magic cards do not look good if you don't know what they are.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
It's like, that's disgusting. Throw that in the garbage.
Yeah, they're like these weirdly colored, white bordered, but...
Then you see that 1994 and you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wall of Omen's going to be met with a counter. Oh, that doesn't feel good, I bet.
I mean, the same as you saw that last game.
Yeah.
Wall of Omen's got a lot of work done, a lot of respect.
Celestial Colonnade, signed by Eric Duchamp, the artist of Deflecting Poem.
Yeah,
All that
Deflecting
matters.
Poem. Artist of, speaking of D&T foils, the best planes ever printed. The only basic land that exists that has a like the date stamp they used to do on pre-release promos. It's got day, month, year. Dragon's Maze release promo, only basic with the date printed on it.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's pretty cool.
another one of those it's not that great, but then you get to say, hey, it's the only one.
Yeah. I actually did not know that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's cool. All right, this one looks.
Castle Vance.
This one's gonna be tough.
Nothing so far. Rest in peace in place. You're gonna be resolving a factor fiction. It looks like.
Yeah. That one's.
Okay, got better. It got better.
I mean, did it get better? Because you kind of have to put the. There are two lands in play, right? And if we're just doing this draw-go thing, especially with a Castle Vantress and a Celestial Colonnade, Amato wants to hit his land drops. So it's tough to put those two lands in the same pile. The Shark Typhoon and the Counterspell probably have to go in opposite piles. And if Matt ever does sort of, get his feet underneath him, resolve something that matters here.
Like that. So 2 lands and a Counterspell, and the Shark Typhoon Supreme Verdict. Oh, Chalice.
Chalice on one.
Sanctifier. Wow,
Okay.
this is just like.
So he's not going for Chalice here. I guess that the Sanctifier.
Okay, we're just gonna skip it up. Yeah, that was looking rough. He was honestly a really fast matchup for the control player. Probably feels good.
So the control decks with the Chalice and all the rest in pieces, they are extremely good at what they do, which is targeting the top 2 or 3 decks of the metagame.
Yeah.
And we just saw here, they look absolutely unbeatable.
That was
in those
crushing,
matchups.
yeah. Again, there was maybe some iffy things from Matt's opening hand in game 1 that could have gone differently.
Yeah.
But I don't think he necessarily played bad by any means.
No,
it's just Amato stabilized with a wall of Omen, which you don't see often. But when it's good, it's good.
Yeah. So these control decks, they're built to beat up on blue-red. They're built to beat up on hammer. So you suffer a little bit against some of the fringe things.
Yeah.
But when it works, it works.
Yeah.
Amato's 3-0, so.
Good job, Amato. We will be watching him next round. We'll be back shortly. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, we're back with the fourth and final round. These are our two undefeateds. They've agreed to split at the start of the round, but they're playing for first pick.
Yeah.
So these are our first and second players.
Playing for a little bit of something, but they're locking themselves up the first and second place.
So, yeah, Jeremy's on some weird Glimpse of Tomorrow deck.
Yeah, so
I've been seeing around a little bit, but...
So the idea here, Glimpse of Tomorrow is sort of the shuffle in all your permanents, then reveal the cards from the top and put those things into play. There are a couple different ways you can do Glimpse of Tomorrow.
The Evoke creature.
This is really good. The games that Glimpse deck wins, you need to put a lot of permanents into play and do it really quickly.
What do you mean?
So, just having a 2-mana thing that just puts 2 permanents into play is super strong here. So yeah, essentially what the Glimpse deck is trying to do, it's trying to go ahead and put a bunch of permanents into play with like Colony Garden and Wave Sifter, stuff like that. Then cast a Glimpse of Tomorrow off a Cascade spell, and the particular version that Jeremy's playing, actually just saw him draw it, you want to go and flip over some Emrakul's and some Griselbrands and just really big things.
Valakut's Awakening here.
Okay.
We're going to shuffle away this.
Yeah, get that useless Glimpse, useless Emrakul out of there.
Oh. We left to play that.
Oh, I'm glad they caught that fairly early before there were a bunch of permanents in play on Amato's side. Could have been a little bit more difficult to drag those out of the way.
So putting 3 back, drawing 4.
Yeah. So essentially here the version Jeremy's on is just put a couple big things into play, not worry about a big extended combo. The other things you can do with Glimpse, you'll see people doing like, hit some Chancellor of the Forge, hit some, Goblin Dark Dwellers and Glimpse again, and go off on a big complicated thing and build up your permanents slowly each time. And Jeremy's just going to try and put, an Omniscience or Griselbrand, Emrakul, whatever in play. A little more simple.
All these big uncastable spells Jeremy's drawing, though, which doesn't feel good. Like it's going to happen. You're playing so much.
Yeah, and to be fair, it's not necessarily all that much better if you're, hitting your Tireless Provisioners and, Goblin Dark Dwellers or whatever.
It's very huge. It's going to force action.
Force a counterspell.
It has to be countered.
Yep. We passed the first check. Amato's passed the first hurdle here. We'll see if Jeremy has any follow-up. I will say sort of big picture in this match, it's going to be really rough for Jeremy. Just because his deck does basically nothing without resolving a Glimpse of Tomorrow. And Amato...
So, Amato just said he came to a realization. He's like, oh, that's what you're doing. And Jeremy said, what? And he said, oh, I thought you were on that stupid Glimpse deck.
A little bit of
and
trickery
he just
here.
put down shields for
Cryptic,
but he has Counterspell, yeah. But luckily, Jeremy can't go double Shardless here.
Yeah, Amato's going to find out right here. Yeah.
Oh, this is top card.
Top card. Couldn't be faster with the Counterspell. But yeah, Amato, not only does he have counterspells to stop the Glimpses when effectively Glimpse is the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
Amato also has probably 4 copies of Teferi Time Raveler that shuts it down. Amato also has mainboard Chalice of the Void. You can play Chalice on 0, and Jeremy will have to remove that.
It's just so much.
Yeah, and, Jeremy's going to have sideboard cards, postboard, some Mystical Disputes, or maybe...
Oh, no.
This might just be game 1. But every card you have is diluting your Glimpse plan, so...
Oh, Omnath to draw.
Okay, Omnath is...
I don't hate it.
Is a card with text on it.
I like that a lot. Tireless Provisioner.
Interesting Godless Shrine. Typically the Glimpse deck you'll see in the sort of the teamer colors and splashing for like White or Teferi. I don't know what that one's for.
Triome here at end step for Amato.
Mm-hmm.
So this, the Triumph, I think that was that only for wear and tears in the sideboard, or was there something else?
So there is these blue-white decks. They'll splash for, you can have wear tear in the sideboard. Alpine Moon in the sideboard is a really strong
I do think
tool.
I saw him with some Alpine Moons the other game.
And the other thing is just like a single Triome in these decks is a pretty free way to stretch up to a third color on Prismatic Ending.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when a lot of stuff like your opponent's Teferi Time Revelers and things, there are some very powerful threes.
Ugin's in Jeremy's hand.
If he has a fetch land, is castable.
That's kind of awesome. Which, if it resolved, I mean, if we go to combat here, we just swing it to Fairy.
Yeah, I mean, Wall of Omens probably just
blocks it.
Yeah.
But I mean, he might have a Cryptic, right? So I doubt he would tap out, but I mean, he does have a Teferi. Oh, okay,
does have a Teferi, so it is tempting here to say, hey, you tap out for.
Oh, sorry.
For 4, okay. Now, at least the good news here is that if the Shark Typhoon's trading for Omnath in combat, then, you can't fetch land. And,
Here's Provisioner. And, we didn't even have a land anyway, so.
No. It looks like
Vantress.
2 Shardless Agents and Omniscience, thinking Emrakul and a Nugan.
Big Teferi. +1.
I do find the players just talking about what decks are fun, what decks are not fun to play against.
Are we taking a big Teferi here? Yeah, big Teferi here.
I mean, Big Teferi is a card you want off the board, but I think you kind of just have to get rid of the thing
you can't play the game with
Little
Teferi.
I mean, your entire deck just does absolutely nothing.
Bounce Provisioner. Yeah, if that turn that Amato held up just Counterspell, if Jeremy had 6 mana, could go double Shardless, that would have been huge, but hard casting Shark Typhoon.
Yeah.
Untapping 2 lands. This is probably going to wrap it up. Yep, I think that was double Emrakul in a row.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of the problem with a Glimpse deck if you're just looking to flip into big things instead of that longer chain with, Dark Dweller's Chancellor.
Yeah, Jeremy's saying he might not even want to play another one against this matchup. I mean, they already split. They could just...
Yeah, I mean...
Stop. I mean, if he didn't win main board, I think this gets a lot harder for him sideboard.
I think he gets a lot better sideboard.
Really? I know he has, Brazen Borrowers.
So, the reality is...
Mystical Disputes, Brazen Borrowers are the 5 cards he's bringing in.
If Amato resolves a hate piece that matters in game 1, so he resolves a Chalice for 0, he resolves a Teferi Time Raveler or something, Jeremy basically can't do anything against that. And in game 2, like I said, every card you bring in, every Mystical Dispute, every Brazen Borrower is diluting your combo. If you have to board out an Emrakul for a Mystical Dispute and then you hit the dispute, that one doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
But at least you have some play against it, right? Your opponent doesn't resolve a Teferi, and you're like...
I guess, yeah. I mean, Dispute is huge. Mm-hmm. But it feels weird. Because you really want to see a Dispute in your opening hand.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can aggressively mulligan for it, which feels bad, but... I don't know. That Omnath did look super good there. Like if he had the fetch, if it wasn't a Shark Typhoon for 4, I really did like... the Omnath. I think Omnath is a cool inclusion in the deck.
Well, so the most important thing Omnath does is when you hit an Omnath off your Glimpse, I mean, not only are you drawing a card, drawing cards is always good.
It's a permanent.
If you hit a fetch land or if you just hit 2 lands or whatever, it makes a bunch of mana, so you can then cast another Cascade spell out of your hand.
Go again,
Yep. So... I think my favorite thing to do is this deck, Jeremy's particular one, isn't set up to go infinite. There's a build of Glimpse where you play with Karn the Great Creator and some other inclusions where you can Karn for Felden's Cane out of exile to put a Glimpse back in your library. The Shardless Agent that you use to cascade into Glimpse, you put back on top with Subtlety.
Subtlety
Subtlety that you hit off the Glimpse. You draw the Shardless Agent with the Omnath trigger, and you can beat actual infinite life by looping 3 Omnath triggers for 4 damage every time, and just have this set up to guaranteed Cascade.
I love that. Both players taking a mulligan here. I think Amato had a small Tef in hand, but only 2 lands, so didn't want to risk it.
Yeah, I mean, only 2 lands, no counterspell. Definitely you want to be able to interact with this deck sort of right away.
The crucial turns are the early turns, basically.
Yeah, have a Force or a Dovin's Veto or a Chalice or a Counterspell.
Here's Counterspell. Oh, I'm only seeing... Okay, and we got 3 lands. Okay.
Interesting that
it's
Prismatic Ending is still in the deck. But
it is the Jeremy. Yeah, Prismatic Ending does seem a little weird, huh? I don't think it's the worst, but it definitely... seems like it could come out.
I think you still want some amount of stuff to respect, Jeremy's Teferi Time Ravelers. And honestly, it might just be a case of, this isn't a matchup where you want Supreme Verdict. This isn't really a matchup where you want Solitude. It might just be the best thing that's left, right?
Mm-hmm. I think Jeremy's hand is another Teferi and Shardless Agent. So it's going to be the same thing as last game. Check to see if the Teferi resolves. As it does, here's my win. Or here's my attempted win.
Right. Because, sort of the thing in the background here is once you resolve a Glimpse, you're not necessarily winning the game. Yeah, you need to shuffle.
And without the evoke creature to make the 2 treasures, you have less things. The Kalani Garden start is fine, but it is not guaranteed.
Yeah, and if Jeremy does manage to resolve a Glimpse here, it's probably going to be for, 4, maybe 5 permanents, which... if a quarter of your deck is stuff like Emrakul's and Ugins, it can work. Still got to hit.
If Amato does counter a Teferi that enters the battlefield this turn, he can untap with a Teferi of his own, which feels awful.
Is really good. It looks like Amato has 2 counter spells in hand.
The draw. I don't hate that.
Okay. Now, I think Jeremy is going for Teferi here, just because, Teferi is the most powerful thing. There's some logic in check him on having a counterspell before he gets to 3 mana, and Archmage's Charm enters the equation. That was a real fast tap 2 mana.
I don't know. I really like Violent Outburst. I like the idea of Violent Outbursting at the end of Amato's turn. If you pass to him, he can't just slam the Teferi, I feel.
Now... there is some consideration.
He has a Mystical Dispute.
Yeah, the...
I didn't even see the Mystical Dispute in his opening hand.
I missed it, yeah. It's hard to see the way these players are holding their cards.
I really do not hate the Violent Outburst into a Cascade spell.
It's a question of... So what you're trying to do here, Jeremy, is you're trying to put some pressure on Amato's mana.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if Amato keeps a hand, there's no question whatsoever that he has something that's good against your deck. He has some counterspells or he has a hate piece. It's more like, where do you try to apply that mana so you can go and try to resolve 2 spells on 1 turn's worth of Amato's mana.
Mm-hmm.
So that can be, you can try to force through the Teferi when Amato doesn't have Archmage's Charm available. You can try the Violent Outburst to overload his mana. You can just, try to resolve your big thing with Mystical Dispute up.
Yep.
So it's a little bit of where you want to fit in that double spell against Amato's development. And it's a little bit of what you think is sort of the most important piece. It might be resolving Teferi Time Ravelers the most important thing to do. It might be Violent Outburst is the most important thing. And actually, on that note...
So counterspell the draw, and then off of this draw, Force of Negation.
This game's just over.
Yeah, this game's done.
I think the important thing, now trying to get a good look at Jeremy's hand, going for that Teferi on...
Glimpse of Tomorrow suspended into the Teferi. That's...
Yeah. On turn 3, he only has 1 blue mana.
Mm-hmm.
Now, part of that was there was an active decision to fetch Temple Garden, but if you have 1 blue mana and a couple of 3 mana things you want to resolve, play your Teferi on 3, because you can Violent Outburst with Dispute on 4 and 1 blue mana, but you can't Teferi, Yeah, and once you see a counterspell fired off to draw 2 cards with a card advantage engine in play. I mean, you just know Amato's hand is stacked. Right?
Yep. Absolutely disgusting. And, like, the thing is, right, so Jeremy's going to tick down to 1. He probably doesn't want his card to just be thrown away, so he's going to try to do something on his turn. But, having 2 blue mana has to lead with a Brazen Borrower, probably on Teferi, right?
Well, I mean, that doesn't even work, right? Because you can Brazen Borrower with a Teferi so that your next upkeep, your suspend spell gets to resolve. But the problem with that is you just cast the Teferi again, right? So you need to Mystical Dispute the Teferi, but Amato can pay for it. So then you lock yourself into needing to draw another Brazen Borrower. Or Jeremy might still have copies of Fury in his deck.
Is a Shark Typhoon for 5 here the move, do you think?
Did he do that on... Oh,
he did it on his turn before the untap trigger.
I think it's risky.
With Force of Negation and Counterspell we saw in his hand. Like, it's probably fine. Like, can't really see a way to super punish it, but it just feels like a risk that you don't really have to take.
I mean, how many cards does Jeremy have in hand? Is there any combination of things that...
I honestly don't think so.
I think the only thing that even... Yeah, he has a Force of Negation too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Force of Negation and Counterspell in hand.
Yeah, I just don't think there's anything.
What's that one Modern Horizons 2 enchantment? It's like 1 red. It's the Oathbreaker Breaker. It's like 1 red. Flame Blitz or something?
Flame Blitz. I mean, you can't play Flame Blitz in your Cascade and Glimpse of Tomorrow.
No, but I'm just saying, I want to see that card see some play.
Yeah.
Here's a Counterspell. You can't. Yeah. Teferi's in play. He just loses. Oh.
I mean, I think you lose even if that
100%
happens, right?
With the Force of Negation.
Yeah, you just...
But, thank you everybody for watching. That was a brutal last one.
I mean, again, it's one of the... I feel like it's a matchup you want to play, right?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
But,
thank you, and we will see you next week.